Chapter 82. Want money? Non-existent. My land snorted. Sure enough, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That country bumpkin looked so unsophisticated, yet he pulled off this stunt. HMPH. He knew that beautiful women love heroes, so he took advantage of a big fire to play hero and won the heart of our Miss Chen. Really clever. Lanlin, stop talking nonsense. How am I talking nonsense? HMPH. My Lan pointed at Chen Zuren's forehead with disdain. From what you said, he's just a braggart who thinks he can uncover the truth about the fire and get the Chen group to beg you back. I think you're completely bewitched by him. Chen Zuren smiled bitterly. At a time like this, can't I hold on to some hope? Dream Fragrance Restaurant. Chen Longxiang was indeed riding high. Although he hadn't completely ousted Chen Zuren from the Chen group yet, today the old lady had spoken. As long as he could resolve the current crisis, the position of chairman was within reach. So Chen Longxiang specially arranged a grand banquet to invite some medical equipment manufacturers from Yun City. Though it was still early, Chen Longxiang arrived at the private room ahead of time. How's it going? Isn't that little bastard Yi Gichin quite arrogant? The people you found have already started handling him, right? Chen Longxiang asked He Lao Liu beside him. He Lao Liu quickly nodded. Of course, I spent a lot of money this time. If we don't beat Yi Gichin half to death, we'll at least make sure he's bedridden for 3 months. Haha, great, Manager He will be waiting for good news then. Chen Longxiang patted He Lao Liu on the shoulder. He Lao Liu couldn't stop grinning after hearing Manager He and bowed repeatedly. Mr. Chen, rest assured, I found some real tough guys this time. There won't be any issues. Soon, those suppliers began arriving one after another. When they saw Chen Longxiang, they kept bowing and being extremely polite. Chen Longxiang got straight to the point. Gentlemen, the Chen Group has secured the Renmin Hospital deal. We won't be hogging all the profits ourselves. We'll give you 30% of the profits. Just deliver on time. That was Chen Longxiang's plan. Before setting the fire, he had already informed these suppliers to absolutely refuse supplying Chen Zuren. And now, he directly offered 30% of the profits, knowing these suppliers wouldn't be foolish enough to refuse. After the fire destroyed the factory, these suppliers quickly got wind of the news. A plump middle-aged man smiled and said, Mr. Chen, I heard you can't even provide a decent piece of equipment now. Isn't 30% a bit too low? Indeed, we're helping you solve an urgent crisis. If we don't supply you, the damages could cost Chen Group a fortune, right? Chen Longxiang's face twitched at the words. What does Boss Feng mean? 70% for us, you Chen Group keep 30%. This, Chen Longxiang didn't expect them to demand 70% of the profits. And from their demeanor, it was clear they had made such an agreement beforehand. Now he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he didn't agree to these suppliers, the compensation fees could bankrupt the Chen Group. Fine, happy cooperation. Chen Longxiang laughed aloud, raised his glass and nodded in agreement, cursing inwardly. Damn it, once I get through this tough time, I'll deal with you. Meanwhile, Yi Gichin received a call from Black Panther, saying that Chen Longxiang was hosting a banquet for some medical equipment suppliers from Yun City. Chen Longxiang, you're quite impressive. Yi Gichin initially suspected Chen Longxiang's tactics, but now he understood instantly. First, he set fire to the factory, then secretly contacted the suppliers to prevent Chen Zuren from seeking aid elsewhere, deceiving everyone. Not only did he kick Chen Zuren out of the Chen Group, but he also managed an urgent solution in one go. It was more than a double whammy. Wait for me at the entrance of Dream Fragrance. I'm coming over now. Hanging up, Yi Gichin called a taxi and headed towards Dream Fragrance. However, shortly after getting in, Yi Gichin noticed a van quietly trailing behind. Frowning slightly, Yi Gichin didn't pay it much mind. Although he wasn't sure of their intentions, if they dared to show themselves, he'd make them regret it. Inside the van were 7 or 8 burly men with fierce expressions. They held thick steel pipes and stared menacingly at the taxi Yi Gichin was in. Boss, we've been paid handsomely to cripple that guy up ahead. Once it's done, we'll live it up for a long time, said a burly man. The leader, a man with a pockmarked face, chuckled and squinted. You don't need to tell me that. Hurry up, once we get to a less crowded place, force that taxi to stop. Got it, the van suddenly accelerated. The taxi driver had no idea what was happening, but Yi Gichin suddenly pushed his foot on the taxi's accelerator. "Hey, what are you doing?" the taxi driver exclaimed. "Someone's trying to kill me, quickly," Yi Gichin said sternly. Hearing this, the taxi driver broke out in a cold sweat. He was just a regular civilian. Talk of killing someone was too frightening. Why you must be joking, right?" the taxi driver stammered. "Stop wasting time." Yi Gichin grabbed the taxi driver and yanked him out of the driver's seat, throwing him onto the back seat. In just a second or two, Yi Gichin moved like an eel into the driver's seat. After a brief moment of losing control, the taxi swerved sharply. The taxi driver was completely terror-stricken, screaming loudly and even closing his eyes in fear. But within a moment, Yi Gichin had regained control of the taxi, speeding like an arrow. In the van, the gang was stunned. "Damn, did that kid notice us?" "Don't let him get away," the gang leader shouted, and the van accelerated as well. They were already close to Dream Fragrance. By the time Yi Gichin arrived, the taxi driver was retching badly. The drifting just now was too intense. Though he was an experienced driver, he nearly developed heart problems. "Driver, how much?" Yi Gichin turned to the taxi driver in the back seat. The taxi driver waved his hand repeatedly. No charge, no charge." It was terrifying enough. How could he ask for money? Yi Gichin smiled, placed 100 yuan in the car, and got out, looking back over his shoulder. The taxi driver leaned against the car door, his legs trembling. He managed to get out of the car but didn't dare to linger, quickly driving away. After a while, the van finally caught up, and the people inside just happened to see Yi Gichin looking at them, and even extending his middle finger. Provocation. Blatant provocation. "Damn, he's actually daring to provoke us, get him." The big men in the van were furious, stopping the van a dozen feet away from Yi Gichin and rushing out with steel pipes in hand. "Bastard, you must have a death wish." As they cursed, they charged at Yi Gichin, scaring the nearby pedestrians who quickly backed away. Yi Gichin wasn't in a hurry. He crossed his arms and smiled, gazing at them. "Damn it, what are you guys doing?" At that moment, an angry shout rang out. Black Panther came running from a distance. Seeing the men with steel pipes, Black Panther's eyes almost popped out. "Do you have a death wish?" Dozens of strong men emerged behind Black Panther. The men with steel pipes were all stunned, exchanging glances. After a moment, they knelt in front of Yi Gichin. "We were blind, we greet you, big brother." These men were quick to adapt to the situation. Yi Gichin thought they would at least utter some harsh words when they saw they were outnumbered. But seeing the situation was not in their favor, they immediately chickened out. "Boring. Big your ass," Black Panther approached and kicked the leading man over. "Damn, who are you to dare mess with Mr. Yi?" The men began to cry. Even a fool would realize they had messed with someone they shouldn't have. Big brother, my name is Ma Wu. I just took money to do this job. We were blind, we wronged you. We're sorry. Slap, slap, slap." Before Black Panther could speak, Ma Wu already started slapping his own face. Yi Gichin stepped forward. "Ma Wu, confess honestly." "He Lao Liu, it's he Lao Liu." Ma Wu immediately responded, fearing he might be too slow, and not even a few seconds passed before he ratted out He Lao Liu. "He Lao Liu, isn't he one of Datu's men?" Hearing Ma Wu mention He Lao Liu, Yi Gichin laughed. It seemed like they still had not given up. However, Yi Gichin didn't know that He Lao Liu had already become Chen Longxiang's permanent driver. "In that case, call He Lao Liu and tell him it's done, and ask him where he is," Yi Gichin said casually. Ma Wu dared not delay, hurriedly taking out his phone. "Sixth Master, it's done. Where are you?" Ma Wu said as instructed by Yi Gichin. He Lao Liu was overjoyed upon hearing this. "Haha, good, I'm at the Dream Fragrance restaurant now. Come over." After hanging up, Ma Wu pointed tremblingly at the Dream Fragrance restaurant behind Yi Gichin. "They're inside." What a coincidence. Yi Gichin narrowed his eyes, suspecting that He Lao Liu might be with Chen Longxiang. "All right, lead the way," Yi Gichin said. Ma Wu quickly stood up and led the way. Black Panther glared at Ma Wu's men. "You keep an eye on them. Make them slap themselves 100 times before they roll." "Yes." Ma Wu's men began to cry. They all knelt on the ground and started slapping themselves. Yi Gichin didn't bother with these small fries and quickly walked into the Dream Fragrance restaurant. Upon entering the door, someone called out from afar, "Ma Wu, didn't expect you to be so efficient, huh?" He Lao Liu came over in a few steps, not noticing Yi Gichin and the others. He thought they were Ma Wu's men. Ma Wu wore a mournful expression, not daring to make a sound, but glanced at Yi Gichin beside him. Yi Gichin smiled. "He Lao Liu, we meet again, huh?" He Lao Liu was startled, and upon looking up was scared senseless. Yi Gichin knew how come. Damn, daring to plot against Mr. Yi, looking for death, Black Panther stepped forward, lifting He Lao Liu up. He Lao Liu, already small and thin, was like a rabbit in front of the towering Black Panther, held up in the air effortlessly. Yi Gichin looked at He Lao Liu. "So, Datu is lying in the hospital, and you still haven't learned your lesson." He Lao Liu swallowed, glancing at Black Panther, his pupils shrinking. He knew Black Panther, and seeing Black Panther acting like Yi Gichin's subordinate now confused him. After Datu was beaten, Old He kept pressing Datu for details, but Datu didn't say anything. Now He Lao Liu finally understood that Black Panther was working for Yi Gichin back then. "Brother Leopard, it's Chen Longxiang. Chen Longxiang wants to deal with Mr. Yi." He Lao Liu wasn't stupid. At this point, he knew resisting would mean certain death by Black Panther's hands. Next to him, Ma Wu trembled, glancing at Black Panther. You're Black Panther." "Ma Wu, are you blind? This is Brother Black Panther, the famous one in Yun City. Why the hell aren't you apologizing?" He Lao Liu cursed loudly, trying to please Black Panther. Ma Wu couldn't hold back and cried on the spot. He saw Black Panther's imposing demeanor, but never thought he was the infamous Black Panther. He knew Black Panther's ruthless methods well. He was just a small-time thug, provoking such a god. His life or death was a mere word from him. "Brother Leopard, I didn't know it was you." Ma Wu knelt again, crying bitterly. "Enough, you have nothing to do here," Yi Gichin said to Ma Wu. Ma Wu didn't dare get up, trembling as he looked at Black Panther. Black Panther glared at him. "Mr. Yi said you can leave. What are you still doing here?" Ma Wu was shocked upon hearing this, tentatively glancing at Yi Gichin. Only now did he start putting the pieces together, realizing that the unassuming young man before him was the real big deal. Even Black Panther listened to him. He narrowly escaped death. I'm leaving. Ma Wu didn't dare delay, practically rolling out the door. He Lao Liu, although still unsure how Yi Gichin was connected with Black Panther, now understood clearly that Black Panther followed Yi Gichin's orders. Mr. Yi, I laid the way," Yi Gichin said indifferently. Black Panther threw He Lao Liu to the ground, causing his ass to hurt, but he dared not utter a word. He got up quickly and led Yi Gichin and Black Panther towards the private room. Inside the private room, the atmosphere was lively. Chen Longxiang and the developers were clinking glasses and chatting, enjoying themselves immensely. Bang! Who knew the door was suddenly kicked open? Chen Longxiang immediately showed displeasure, his face darkening, about to burst out when he turned around and saw it was He Lao Liu who had kicked the door open. He Lao Liu crashed open the door and fell straight to the ground, his mouth twitching incessantly. "Mr. Chen, I." Chen Longxiang frowned and looked towards the entrance of the private room, where he saw Yi Gichin. "It's you." Chen Longxiang was completely surprised that Yi Gichin would come knocking on his door. After a moment of surprise, he said coldly, "Kid, I didn't expect you to have some tricks up your sleeve, finding your way here." Yi Gichin walked up to a fat man. "Sorry, I'll take a seat." The man, though feeling extremely odd, got up without saying a word. Yi Gichin sat down carelessly and drank a glass of wine on his own. "Those who aren't involved, get out." "Damns, who do you think you are?" Yi Gichin's words were so arrogant that they immediately ignited a fury among the developers, who started cursing one after another. These people were all influential figures in society, and now they were being told to get out by a kid who was still wet behind the ears. How could they tolerate that? Seeing this, Chen Longxiang became even more pleased and said, "Yi Gichin, you're still a kid and you actually think you can fight me. Haha, just so you know, everyone here are big bosses in the medical equipment industry. Any one of them can crush you. You came here yourself. I don't mind telling you, the factory fire was all my plan, but what can you do to me? Ha 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 ha." Chen Longxiang laughed wildly, completely dismissing Yi Gichin. "You admit it just like that?" Yi Gichin suddenly felt disheartened, Since that's the case, it makes things much easier. Yi Gichen took out a piece of paper and a pen from his pocket, speaking slowly. Chen Longxiang, I guess everyone here is on the same boat with you, right? Since that's the case, I won't hold back. Yi Gichen continued speaking, stuffing the paper and pen into the hands of the middle-aged man who had stood up for him. Boss, please jot down the names and companies of everyone present here for me. I'll deal with them one by one later. The middle-aged man was stunned, his hand trembling, dropping the pen. Another supplier laughed loudly. Kid, from what you're saying, you want to take on all of us by yourself. Ha 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 ha, you sure brag in a refreshing way. Damn, I've seen people show off, but not like this. Mr. Chen, who is this guy? We were all having a good time and he ruined it. Why not call security and have him thrown out? Chen Longxiang's smile grew even wider. Yi Gichen's arrogance knew no bounds. These suppliers each had assets worth millions, and altogether they probably had billions. Though not as prestigious as the Chen and Long families, they were formidable when united. Did Yi Gichen really say he wanted to take them on? It was simply the world's greatest joke. Moreover, with the current crisis facing the Chen Group, if these suppliers all went bankrupt, the Chen Group would be doomed, and Chen Zuren would certainly become the family's scapegoat. Haha, Yi Gichen, I used to think you had some self-awareness, but now I realize I overestimated you. But the more you brag, the more useless you are, and the more you embarrass Chen Zuren, haha, that's exactly what I want to see. Yi Gichen completely ignored Chen Longxiang's mockery, glancing around and asking, what, is no one brave enough to say their name? Damn, you're too arrogant. Fine, I'll tell you. My name is Feng Yongjun, and I'm the president of Yongjun Medical Equipment. If you have the guts, bring down my company. Haha, you're ridiculously arrogant. That's right, if you have the ability, go ahead. I'm Jiang Shangshu, the president of Shangshu Group. Damn it, I don't believe you have that capability. The suppliers actually started namming themselves one by one. Yi Gichen was not in a hurry and picked up the pen, diligently writing down the names. After everyone had introduced themselves, Yi Gichen turned to the middle-aged man beside him. What's your name? I, the middle-aged man, being the closest to Yi Gichen, inexplicably felt an oppressive aura emanating from him and stuttered in nervousness. His name is Zhu Jai, the president of Jixing Instruments. Haha, what's the matter, kid? Now that you've written down all the names, show us what you can do. The crowd burst into laughter. Chen Longxiang was overjoyed, cross-armed and watching the show unfold. He couldn't believe he hadn't even made a move, and Yi Gichen had already stirred up so much trouble. It seemed he wouldn't need to take action today. Clown, you little bastard, if you can't do anything, stop bragging and get out. Getting out is too easy, a beating would be more satisfying. Yi Gichen ignored the noisy surroundings, picked up his phone and made a call, reciting the names he had written down. These companies make them bankrupt within 10 minutes. Haha, bankrupt within 10 minutes. That's hilarious. Who do you think you are, calling and making companies bankrupt? Damn, you really know how to brag. All right, we'll wait for 10 minutes and see how you make us bankrupt. Everyone stared at Yi Gichen as if watching a joke. Only the middle-aged man named Zhu Jai unconsciously swallowed his saliva. Can I beg for mercy now? For some reason, he felt that Yi Gichen might actually be able to do what he said, and started to panic. The others jeered. Old Zhu, you're such a coward, always timid. Today you really embarrassed us. If you beg for mercy now, we'll cut ties with you from now on. Exactly, I didn't think you were such a wimp. Everyone's ridicule suddenly targeted Zhu Jai. Zhu Jai only smiled bitterly, looking at Yi Gichen with a pleading expression. Yi Gichen thought for a moment and said into the phone, leave Jixing Group out for now. Haha, such a show-off. Upon hearing Yi Gichen's words, the others sneered. After hanging up, Yi Gichen quietly sat there and waited. Just over 5 minutes passed when one of the supplier's phones suddenly rang. He picked up his phone. Hello, Liu, what's the matter? Don't you know I'm out socializing today? Liu was his secretary. A woman's panicked voice came from the phone. Boss, it's bad, I don't know why, but all the money on our company's books is gone, and all the factories we worked with are calling to cancel cooperation. What? The supplier was stunned instantly. Before the others could figure out what was going on, their phones started ringing one after another. Damn, what did you say? Impossible, absolutely impossible. The suppliers roared one by one, their faces filled with disbelief. In less than 10 minutes, except for Zhu Jai, all the suppliers stared at Yi Gichin as if they had seen a ghost. Who are you really? Fear. Deep fear. All the money of the medical equipment suppliers present has mysteriously disappeared, as if taken by some high-level hacker. Without money, how can they operate? Everyone panicked. The more they laughed before, the more intense the shock waves in their hearts now. Chen Longxiang was also completely stunned. How is this possible? Black Panther, who had remained silent beside him, was deeply shaken. Mr. Yi is indeed a big shot of the Heavenly God Temple. Such means are unheard of. His mind was more determined to curry favor with Yi Gichin, and even a wild thought began to grow uncontrollably. If his sister, Li Ruoxuan, could be with Yi Gichin, it would be a meteoric rise. Zhu Jai secretly wiped off his sweat. His whole body was drenched. He looked at Yi Gichin reverently, and now that he looked again, the feeling of awe was even stronger. This feeling, as if he had just walked around the edge of death. Sir, thank you for your mercy. Zhu Jai trembled, his voice full of reverence. Yi Gichin waved his hand. Take care of yourself. Zhu Jai quickly nodded. From now on, any orders you have, I'll go through fire and water for you. He's not stupid. His company just escaped death, but also brought infinite opportunities. Initially, more than a dozen medical equipment manufacturers were competing, but now 80% of them are gone. It's hard for his company not to prosper. Yi Gichin did not pay further attention to Zhu Jai's flattery, but said indifferently, I'll say it again, you can leave now. Thud. Unexpectedly, as soon as Yi Gichin finished speaking, no one left. As one supplier kneeled, all the suppliers kneeled on the ground. Sir, we were blind to offend you, please spare us. We have elderly and children to support, as well as a factory full of workers, please have mercy on us. Yes, all of this was Chen Longxiang's conspiracy. He instructed us, it has nothing to do with us. As if realizing the key point, one person pointed at Chen Longxiang, and everyone else followed. In an instant, Chen Longxiang became the target of everyone's criticism. Chen Longxiang's face turned ashen, his body trembling uncontrollably. Regardless, he could not believe Yi Gichin had such power. Lucky. Chen Longxiang did not think so. But how did a hillbilly do this? Chen Longxiang thought hard but couldn't understand. Yi Gichin, although I don't understand how you did this, dreaming if you want me to admit defeat. Chen Longxiang took a wine glass and smashed it on the ground. A hillbilly, even with some tricks, is not worthy to be my enemy. Wait, I won't let this go. After speaking, he left angrily. Black Panther was about to stop him. Yi Gichin said indifferently, no rush, I'll play with him slowly. His gaze fell on the pleading suppliers. Want to survive, it's easy. Everyone looked up, hopeful. Yi Gichin continued, the order from Chen Group to Renmin Hospital will be divided among you, and Chen Group won't pay a penny. Everything must be handled by Chen Zuran alone, no one else will do. Everyone looked at each other. The order between Chen Group and Renmin Hospital, split among them, won't exceed 10 million, which is different from bankruptcy. Almost without hesitation, everyone nodded in agreement. Yi Gichin smiled, said no more, and turned to leave. Shortly after Yi Gichin left, all these suppliers received calls saying the money in their accounts was back to normal. This time, no one dared to question even a little. Although they suffered heavily, it was better than bankruptcy. Leaving Dream Fragrance, Yi Gichin called Chen Zuran. Honey, no matter who asks you to return to Chen Group, don't agree. Chen Zuran smiled helplessly, I know. After hanging up, Chen Zuran didn't take Yi Gichin's words seriously at all. What a joke, they can't wait to kick her out, how could they ask her to return? Chen family. The old lady couldn't believe her ears. You say, those medical equipment manufacturers in Yun City want to share the order with Renmin Hospital, and say it's for free. In just over an hour, all reputable suppliers in Yun City called, hopping to help Chen Group through the crisis. Old lady Longxiang is truly capable, a middle-aged man beside praised. The old lady nodded in approval. Yes, although I don't know what method Longxiang used, with such skills, our Chen family has hope. Upon hearing this, the secretary reported with a troubled expression. Chairman, all those suppliers said, they want Chen Zuran to meet them. What? The old lady was stunned. What did you say? The secretary repeated. They said they will only help us if Chen Zuran is in charge. What's happening? The old lady's face changed slightly. They just kicked out Chen Zuran, and now asking her back would be a slap in the face. Call Longxiang immediately and find out what's going on. The secretary quickly made the call but found it was turned off, and the company's people said Chen Longxiang wasn't there. Damn, what's going on? The old lady held her cane, her face gloomy. At this moment the phone rang again. The secretary answered, listened for a moment with a surprised look and said, Okay, I'll get the chairman, she will speak to you personally. The old lady, puzzled, answered the phone respectfully. Chairman Yan from Divine Wind Pharmaceutical. Divine Wind Pharmaceutical, one of the top 10 medical equipment companies in Hua country, was 10 times larger than Chen Group. Such a company was beyond Chen Group's reach. But now, the chairman of Divine Wind Hospital was personally calling, saying they would provide a batch of medical equipment at cost. After listening, the old lady was still in a daze. Chairman Yan, is it true? A majestic voice came through the phone. Of course, but I have one condition, that Chen Zuran handles this batch of medical equipment's liaison. Again, Chen Zuran. The old lady's brain was blank, not understanding what was happening. Is there a problem? No, no problem, the old lady quickly replied to Chairman Yan. After hanging up, she pondered for a while and decisively said, Call Zuran, tell her to come back. Chen Zuran was shopping with Mai Lan when the phone suddenly rang. She picked it up and looked at it, her expression turning extraordinarily strange. What's wrong? Mai Lan asked as she saw Chen Zuran's odd expression. It's the landline from Grandma's place. Saying this, Chen Zuran answered the call. Upon hearing a single sentence, her pupils contracted suddenly, and her face was full of disbelief. How could this be? They actually want me to go back. Suddenly remembering what Yi Gichin had told her, Chen Zuran bit her lip. Please tell Grandma I'm not coming back. With that, she hung up the phone with a loud snap. On the other end, the old lady's secretary looked very embarrassed. What's going on? The old lady asked. The secretary replied, Mr. Chen said she's not coming back. What? The old lady's face turned very ugly. At this hour, she's still throwing a tantrum with me. Give me the phone, I'll talk to her myself. Taking the phone, the old lady personally called Chen Zuran. Chen Zuran still firmly insisted that she would not return. The old lady's face looked even worse. Beside her, a middle-aged man coaxed, Mom, did you see that? Chen Zuran completely ignores you. This middle-aged man named Chen Guangzong was Chen Zuran's uncle, the father of Chen Longxiang. The old lady snorted. Though furious, she had no other options and could only say hatefully, This girl has really turned the world upside down. Once this matter is settled, I'll deal with her properly. As she spoke, she slowly stood up. Let's go. I'll go to Guanghui's house myself. I don't believe I can't get her to come back. Both Divine Wind Pharmaceutical and those suppliers in Yun City specifically named Chen Zuran as the person they wanted to deal with. At such a moment, no matter how unwilling the old lady was, there was no other way. After hanging up the phone, Chen Zuran's heart involuntarily started beating several times faster. Oh my God, did I just refuse Grandma? To know that ever since Grandpa passed away, it has always been Grandma who called the shots in the Chen family, and no one ever dared to contradict her. But today I actually refused her. Are you okay? Seeing Chen Zuran's unnatural expression, Mai Lan asked. No, nothing. It's just that Grandma asked me to go back and I refused. Chen Zuran did not hide it. What? Mai Lan exclaimed, staring at Chen Zuran in disbelief. Did that scumbag really get it right? Oh my God, your Grandma always gets her way and you actually refused her. She must hate you now. Chen Zuran smiled bitterly without explaining and took out her phone to call Yi Gichin. What's wrong? Grandma asked me to go back, but I refused. Yi Gichin was not surprised at all and said calmly, She will personally come to ask you to return. However, since she publicly sent you away, do you think it will be easy to go back? When the time comes, you should ask for a car." "What?" Chen Zuren said incredulously. "Grandma asking me to come back is already unheard of. How could she possibly agree to give me a car?" Although Chen Zuren was technically the vice president of the company, she had no real power and usually feared others' jealousy, so she didn't dare to have a private car. Now Yi Gichen was actually suggesting that she make such a request to her grandma. Was he trying to get her killed? Yi Gichen smiled. "Trust me, just do as I say." Chen Zuren felt a bit dizzy. How could this guy be so sure grandma would agree? Ring, ring. Her thoughts in disarray, the phone rang again. Chen Zuren get home quickly. This time it was her mother, LV Ping, whose voice was filled with excitement and anticipation, even a bit of impatience. Chen Zuren asked curiously, "Mom, what's going on?" "Hurry up, no nonsense, right now." Chen Zuren could refuse her grandmother, but she couldn't refuse her mother. After parting ways with Mai Lan, Chen Zuren took a taxi home, only to find out upon arrival that her grandmother had come. This was a rare occurrence indeed. In the past, her grandmother never set foot in their branch of the Chen family. "Mom, Ranran is back. If you have anything to say, you could have just called her. Why come all the way personally?" said LV Ping with a fawning smile. Chen Guanghui was also at a loss for what to do. Although he was the old lady's son, his timid nature never won her favor. Seeing Chen Zuren, the old lady's expression softened, though she was still unhappy. For the sake of the Chen group, she still put on a kind face. "Zuren, I know you feel wronged. Grandma knows she went a bit too far. Today I came to tell you that from now on, the medical equipment division will be entirely your responsibility. How about that?" "What, Mom, is that true?" LV Ping was overjoyed upon hearing that. With this assurance from the old lady, Chen Guanghui's branch of the family would certainly see a substantial rise in status within the Chen family and wouldn't have to be so concerned about other people's opinions. The old lady ignored LV Ping and looked expectantly at Chen Zuren. "Grandma, Grandma has already said it. Hurry up and agree," LV Ping said, pulling at Chen Zuren with an irritated tone. Chen Zuren remembered Yi Gichen's words and hesitated for a moment. "Grandma, I'll go back on one condition. The other members of the Chen group have cars, and I want one too." LV Ping was stunned. Had this girl gone crazy? She knew that the old lady hated being bargained with the most. Now Chen Zuren dared to make a demand of the old lady. If the old lady got angry, the consequences would be unthinkable. "Ranran, how can you talk to grandma like that? Apologize right now." LV Ping was so anxious that she broke into a cold sweat, smiling apologetically at the old lady. "Mom, that's not what Ranran meant. Don't misunderstand, don't misunderstand." "Mom, I mean it. If I don't get a car, I won't do it," Chen Zuren said. You've grown wings, haven't you? You." LV Ping was sweating. Had this girl lost her mind today? To everyone's surprise, the old lady just let out a hum. "Fine, I'll give you 50,000. You can choose whatever car you want." She agreed. LV Ping was completely stunned. The old lady not only didn't get angry, but she agreed. After finally sending the old lady off, LV Ping looked at Chen Zuren as if she were a stranger. "Ranran, what on earth did you do? You made the old lady come in person, and she even agreed to your demand." Chen Zuren felt like she was dreaming. She never expected the old lady to change her usual cold attitude towards her, and even agree to the request for a car, something that seemed utterly unreasonable before. Could it really be that guy's doing? At this moment, Chen Zuren's mind was filled with even more questions than LV Ping's. She hurried out of the house, receiving a call from her secretary Annie on the way. Annie was ecstatic on the phone, saying that those suppliers would provide Chen Group with medical equipment for free to make up for the lost order from Renmin Hospital. Even more unbelievable, Divine Wind Pharmaceutical would also supply medical equipment to the Chen Group at cost price, and even expressed willingness to maintain a long-term cooperation with the Chen Group in the future. It was like a great windfall from heaven, leaving Chen Zuren utterly dumbfounded. "Yi Gichen, where are you? I need to see you right now." Chen Zuren quickly dialed Yi Gichen's number, and when she saw him, she couldn't utter a single word from all the questions swirling in her mind. "Honey, how about buying a car?" Yi-Gichen asked with a cheeky smile, a smile so harmless that it inexplicably reassured Chen Zeren. For some reason, Chen Zeren suddenly didn't want to ask any more questions. She knew that no matter who this man in front of her was, he was doing it for her own good. Why should she ask so much? Sure, Chen Zeren smiled lightly, and her smile was as beautiful as 100 flowers in bloom. Chen Zeren made up her mind to use the 50,000 her grandmother gave her to buy Yi-Gichen a car. Whether Yi-Gichen did this or not, from today onwards, she was going to let her man eat soft rice. Oh dear, I've always despised men who live off women, but now I'm actually happy because Yi-Gichen can live off me. What's wrong with me? Chen Zeren lowered her head, her cheeks inexplicably blushing. The two of them arrived at the Mercedes dealership. Miss, are you looking to buy a car? As soon as they walked in, a salesperson immediately approached Chen Zeren. The salesperson only glanced at Yi-Gichen and didn't look any further. At this moment, Yi-Gichen was wearing simple clothes brought from the mountains. Not only were they not luxurious, but they also looked somewhat rustic. In the salesperson's eyes, he was probably just Chen Zeren's driver at best. Chen Zeren gave a small and hooked her arm through Yi-Gichen's. I'm buying for my boyfriend, something under 50,000 will do. Huh? The salesperson's mouth dropped open, barely able to react. Many people in the showroom heard Chen Zeren's words and started to turn their gazes towards her. Oh my God, such a beautiful woman actually has a boyfriend who looks so poor. Must be a kept man, who knows, maybe he's good in bed. Hee, I think that's it. Man, it's such a shame. I wouldn't mind losing 10 years of my life if I could be kept by a woman like that. There was some whispering. Yi-Gichen, however, seemed completely unfazed, as if living off a woman was something to be proud of. Hey, are you guys jealous or something? Haha, I'll tell you the truth, so what if I live off a woman? My wife is willing to buy me a car, and you're just green with envy, aren't you? Haha, I'm just here to make you all drool. Yi-Gichen's words instantly drew a multitude of murderous looks. Chen Zeren stumbled a bit, nearly turning to leave right then and there. She had never seen anyone speak about the great art of living off a woman so shamelessly, yet with such ease and composure. But Chen Zeren understood that Yi-Gichen might not even care about the car she was buying for him. Hurry up and choose a car, you talk too much, Chen Zeren said, rolling her eyes at Yi-Gichen. But even that single eye roll was enchanting, nearly driving everyone, both men and women, crazy. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Why don't I have the luck to live off a woman of this caliber? Jealous, just so jealous. If looks could kill, Yi-Gichen would have been torn to pieces by now. But Yi-Gichen wasn't polite either. After all, it would be the same when they lived together later. Driving around would just be more convenient. How about this one? Yi-Gichen pointed at a new model Mercedes SUV. I'll take this car. At that moment, a woman's voice rang out. Yi-Gichen turned his head to see a middle-aged woman, dressed in designer brands with lips painted bright red, walking quickly with a young man in tow. How much for this car? We'll take it, the wealthy woman said to the salesperson. The salesperson looked very awkward. What, do you think I can't afford it? The wealthy woman sneered and grabbed the young man's butt. My boyfriend also likes this car. Hurry up, stop wasting time. Boyfriend, the salesperson's face was full of surprise. The young man, however, seemed completely unfazed. With a stern face, he snapped, What are you looking at? Hurry up, my girlfriend has plenty of money. Yes, the salesperson surrendered. He suddenly also wanted to save 20 years of struggling. But, comparing Chen Zeren with the wealthy woman in his mind, the salesperson sighed. There's a huge difference in the kind of struggle. Miss, this is the last car of this model. What do you think? The salesperson looked at Chen Zeren, clearly hoping she would give it up. Chen Zeren had no intention of giving in. No way, we saw it first. Why should we give it to you? Chen Zeren pulled out her bank card. Swipe it. Little girl, you dare to challenge me. The wealthy woman got angry, pointing at Chen Zeren's nose and cursing. Don't you know who I am? I'm in a good mood today and buying a car for my boyfriend. Apologize and get lost, or don't blame me for being rude. Yeah, one word from my girlfriend and you'll be in big trouble. The young man, who looked about 20, spoke so arrogantly that his nostrils seemed to point to the sky. Chen Zeren sneered. Yo, handsome, you enjoy being a boy toy for an old woman. She's old enough to be your mom, how shameful. The young man was so enraged his face turned red. "Bitch, how dare you talk nonsense? Watch me smash your mouth." As he spoke, he raised his hand, ready to strike Chen Zuren. Although Chen Zuren had a sharp tongue, she was not expecting the young man to be so audacious as to hit someone without a second thought. She stood there, dumbfounded, forgetting to dodge. The wealthy woman had no intention of stopping him, and instead watched coldly. "Honey, beat this bitch to death, don't be afraid, I've got your back." With the wealthy woman's encouragement, the young man's resolve strengthened, and he increased the force in his hand. Yi Gichen's face darkened. There are all sorts of weirdos in this world, but today really took the cake. "Get lost, you fucking bastard." Yi Gichen didn't hold back, and with a slap faster than the young man's, he slapped him 3 times around in circles. That wasn't enough. Yi Gichen then kicked him in the gut, causing the youth to clutch his stomach in pain, his mouth twitching. Luckily, Yi Gichen only used a fraction of his strength, otherwise, he could have easily kicked the youth to death. "Are you okay, honey?" The wealthy woman was scared out of her mind, supporting the young man and asking with concern. A moment later, the young man burst into tears. "Honey, he hit me, you have to get revenge for me." It's okay, honey, it's okay." The wealthy woman wiped his tears while glaring venomously at Yi Gichen and Chen Zuren. "All right, you two bitches, you're not getting away today." The commotion finally drew the attention of the store manager. When the manager came out and saw the wealthy woman, he shivered in fear. "Boss Su, what happened to you?" The manager approached the wealthy woman to help her up and scolded the salesperson. "Are you all blind? This is Mr. Su's sister, Boss Su of the Huangfeng Hotel. Hurry up and assist her." "What, Mr. Su's sister?" Hearing this name, many people's faces changed. Su Changfeng's Huangfeng Hotel is a 5-star hotel in Yun City, and Su Changfeng himself is a ruthless character. However, when Yi Gichen heard the name Huangfeng Hotel, he gave Chen Zuren a peculiar look. The last time they attended a gathering, it was at Huangfeng Hotel. Moreover, Yi Gichen even subdued Su Wen, the young master of Huangfeng Hotel. Was the woman in front of them actually Su Wen's aunt? So it's Su Changfeng's sister, Su Yanzi. No wonder, I heard that Su Yanzi rides on Su Changfeng's influence and has a cosmetics company under her own name, but she flaunts herself around and has a fondness for young men. Yes, I've heard about that too. She changes young men frequently, in less than a few months. Su Changfeng not only doesn't interfere, but also helps her solve any troubles she encounters. Those two are finished now, they've offended Su Yanzi, things are going to get messy. Many people seemed to know this noblewoman's background, and began casting sympathetic glances at Yi Gichen and Chen Zuren. The manager was also trembling with fear. Su Yanzi was bullied in his establishment. If Su Changfeng blamed him, he might not only lose his job as a manager, but also be unable to stay in Yun City. "Boss Su, please calm down, calm down. Whatever the issue is, I'll resolve it for you." As the manager spoke, he stood up and approached Yi Gichen and Chen Zuren, his face stern. "If you two don't want trouble, you'd better apologize to Boss Su now and ask for her forgiveness, otherwise don't blame me for not warning you." Chen Zuren bit her lip without uttering a word. Yi Gichen sneered. "So, what you mean is you won't even ask why or consider who's right or wrong?" The manager laughed as if hearing a joke. "Young man, you're still too young. Where is there any right or wrong in this world? If you don't apologize sincerely, it won't just be about admitting your fault." "Really?" Yi Gichen laughed. "Since that's the case, then let them apologize and admit their mistake to my wife." Well, Yi Gichen's words instantly caused an uproar. To everyone, Yi Gichen seemed like a madman. Asking Su Yanzi to apologize, wasn't that courting death? The manager was stunned but soon gritted his teeth and said grimly, "Young man, are you not backing down? I said they must apologize and admit their mistake, otherwise bear the consequences." Yi Gichen replied unapologetically. All right, the manager felt Yi Gichen was walking into his death and couldn't blame himself anymore. He turned to Zhou Yanzhai. "Boss Zhou, sorry to say, they not only refuse to admit their mistake, but also want you to apologize." Useless thing, Zhou Yanzhai, supporting the young man beside her, took out her phone and made a call. After hanging up, Zhou Yanzhai arrogantly said, "You pair of dogs, just wait, I've already notified my brother. When he arrives, it will be too late for you to apologize. Now it's really troublesome, even Su Changfeng is coming." Quickly apologize once Su Changfeng comes, things won't be simple anymore. That's right, young man, better to endure the moment's storm and step back into broad skis. Although many people envied and resented Yi Gichen for living off Chen Zuren, some good-hearted people still advised him. Yi Gichen ignored them and squeezed Chen Zuren's hand. At this moment, Chen Zuren's hand was cold. She clearly had heard of Su Changfeng's name and whispered, "Why don't we apologize?" Yi Gichen smiled. If anyone should apologize, it's them. But it's okay, Yi Gichen sent a reassuring look to Chen Zuren. Less than 20 minutes. A luxury car stopped outside the shop. A middle-aged man in his 50s stepped out. The man had a square face, a sturdy build, and an air of authority. The shop's manager hurried over to greet him. Su Changfeng gave the manager a cold glance. "Where's my sister?" Inside. The manager dared not delay and quickly led Su Changfeng inside. Seeing Su Changfeng arrive, the others couldn't help but shrink back. "Brother, those 2 dogs bullied me. Help me take revenge." As soon as Su Yanzi saw Su Changfeng, she immediately began crying. Su Changfeng glanced at the young man beside her and snorted coldly, scaring the young man into lowering his head in guilt. Su Changfeng knew about his sister's behavior but didn't care to intervene. But anyone daring to bully a member of the Su family was unforgivable. "Boy, how do you want to handle this?" Although Yi Gichen was dressed simply, Su Changfeng's sharp eyes saw that Chen Zuren listened to him. Yi Gichen squinted his eyes, leisurely replied, Su Changfeng, quite the imposing figure you have." Damn, he actually dared to call the boss's name. The 2 bodyguards behind Su Changfeng were furious, ready to move forward, but were stopped by Su Changfeng's glance. Su Changfeng said, "So do you know me?" Yi Gichen shook his head. "No, but I know Su Wen and Lord Greedy Wolf." Initially, hearing Su Wen's name didn't matter to Su Changfeng. His son often befriended various people. Knowing someone while hanging out was normal. But upon hearing the name Lord Greedy Wolf, Su Changfeng's eyes instantly shrank. His breath seemed to momentarily choke. Since Su Wen mentioned someone knew Lord Greedy Wolf at Huangfeng Hotel, Su Changfeng had asked for the person's description. Now looking closer, cold sweat appeared on Su Changfeng's forehead. The young man in front of him matched Su Wen's description perfectly, except for the clothes. Could he be the powerful figure from Heavenly God Temple? Su Changfeng felt a chill run through him. Why did his sister provoke such a powerful person? Almost instantly, Su Changfeng made a decision, his demeanor becoming far more respectful. "Sir, how is Lord Greedy Wolf lately?" This question left everyone puzzled. Yi Gichen merely shrugged and smiled. Little Wolf is on a mission, so no need for Boss Su to worry. Upon hearing this, Su Changfeng was certain the young man was indeed a significant figure from Heavenly God Temple. However, Su Yanzi failed to understand why her brother's attitude changed and arrogantly said, "Brother, why bother talking? Just beat him up for me. Also, I want to scar that bitch's face. She's too pretty, seducing everyone." Su Changfeng's face twitched hard hearing this. Slap, he abruptly turned, slapping Su Yanzi's face. "Shut up." This slap not only stunned Su Yanzi, but also left everyone else dumbfounded. "Brother, you hit me." Su Yanzi stared at Su Changfeng in disbelief. From childhood to adulthood, Su Changfeng had never hit her. Su Changfeng said angrily, "Hurry up and apologize to Mr. and Ms. If they don't forgive you, I'll cut off all your funds." "What?" Su Yanzi's eyes reddened, and in the blink of an eye tears fell like rain. "Brother, are you crazy? You hit me for a stranger. You're going to cut off my funds. Do you have any idea what you're doing? Do you remember your promises to Mom and Dad?" Su Changfeng shouted, "Enough nonsense. Hurry up." Inside, Su Changfeng was trembling with fear. Although he felt some sympathy, the situation was too urgent to consider it. Having offended an important figure in the Heavenly God Temple, it wasn't just Su Yanzi who would die. Su Changfeng's own survival was in question. "Hurry up," Su Changfeng kicked the young man next to him, "and you get moving." The young man was nothing but a pretty boy, devoid of any backbone. Although he couldn't understand why Su Changfeng was so furious, he had the skill to read the situation. I'm sorry, I apologize." In an instant, the young man knelt in front of Yi Gichen and Chen Zuren, kowtowing repeatedly. The entire place was in shock. No one understood what was happening. Su Yanzi initially wanted to argue, but seeing the fiery look in Su Changfeng's eyes, she realized her brother was serious, and fear crept in. I am sorry. Finally, Su Yanzi bowed her head and admitted her mistake to Yi Gichen and Chen Zeren. Chen Zeren covered her mouth, her face full of shock. Seeing Su Changfeng's expression, it seemed he was extremely afraid of Yi Gichen. But weren't they meeting for the first time? Yi Gichen said indifferently, if apologizing was this easy, wouldn't murder and arson be forgivable with a mere apology? There was a hidden message in his words. Su Changfeng shivered in fear upon hearing this. Mister, my sister failed to recognize your status and made a mistake. I beg your forgiveness. Here, the most expensive car in this store, let me buy it as a gift to you. How does that sound? Su Changfeng knew to act wisely. Seeing Yi Gichen in the store, he guessed he might have come to buy a car. Although the store was not particularly large, the most expensive car cost 2 million. If spending 2 million could ensure safety, Su Changfeng felt it was worth it. However, upon hearing this, everyone present was stunned. The manager even found his breath growing rapid. To offer a 2 million luxury car just like that, and with Su Changfeng surrendering, is this world playing a joke? All right then, Yi Gichen's lips curled into a smile. He asked Chen Zeren, what do you think? Chen Zeren's mind was blank. She nodded subconsciously, it's up to you. All right, seeing that Boss Su is being so polite, let's go with that. Yi Gichen waved his hand. Su Changfeng was overwhelmingly relieved and repeatedly expressed his thanks. Thank you, mister. Afterward, the manager personally handled various procedures for Yi Gichen. Su Changfeng didn't dare to leave. Instead, he stayed by Yi Gichen's side throughout, serving him like a follower. Only when Yi Gichen spoke did Su Changfeng dare to leave. Sitting in the car, Chen Zeren felt as if she was dreaming. Today, without spending a penny, she managed to get a car worth 2 million. Hey Gichen, do you really only know how to treat illnesses? Chen Zeren couldn't hold back her curiosity any longer. Yi Gichen smiled and changed the subject. By the way, do you have a driver's license? Chen Zeren paused. No, I don't. Oh, what a coincidence, I don't have one either. Yi Gichen started the car, suddenly stepped on the gas and sped forward. A few seconds later, Chen Zeren finally reacted. Yi Gichen, why didn't you say you didn't have a license earlier? But it was already too late. Yi Gichen's speed had broken 100 miles. Haha, so this is what a good car feels like. No one noticed that when Yi Gichen drove out, a figure appeared from a corner behind the car dealership. The man looked at the back of the speeding Mercedes with an eerie expression and said coldly, Yi Gichen, Chen Zeren, this will be the first and last time you drive such a luxury car. Haha, so a luxury car really can go this fast, it's really comfortable. Yi Gichen, slow down, slow down. What's the point of driving this car slowly? You don't have a driver's license. Exactly, because I don't have a license, I can drive however I want. Yi Gichen, you're crazy. Inside the car, Chen Zeren tightly gripped the seatbelt, her chest heaving rapidly. Yi Gichen occasionally turned his head to glance at her. Honey, take it easy, be careful, I can't control myself. Stop looking at me, stop the car. But you look so beautiful. You scoundrel. In the blink of an eye, Yi Gichen had sped several miles. However, the excitement on Yi Gichen's face suddenly darkened. Because a few miles ahead there was a truck. Although it was far away, using his sixth sense, Yi Gichen knew the truck was coming for him. With a cold smile, Yi Gichen shouted, Honey, hold on tight. What are you doing? Before she could understand what was happening, Yi Gichen accelerated again, heading straight for the green belt and rushing into the non-motorized lane. Chen Zeren screamed repeatedly, Yi Gichen, what are you doing? Not only was Chen Zeren terrified, the people in the parked truck at the intersection were also stunned. Brother, what's that guy doing? In the truck sat two people, a middle-aged man with a cap in the passenger seat and a burly man in the driver's seat. The man wearing the cap stared in astonishment as Yi Gichen drove towards them. The burly man compared the photo on his phone to the car in front of them. It was Yi Gichen's car. Damn it, we were paid just to cause an accident. but now it looks like he might crash before we even get to him. Brother, look, he's coming right at us. The man in the cap nearly jumped out of his seat. Because he saw Yi-Gichin driving the car over the green belt without slowing down, heading straight for them. Screw it, either way, 200,000 is enough for us to live lavishly for years. The burly man threw his cigarette out the window, deleted the photo from his phone, and intensely stared at the road. He stepped on the gas, and with the truck's engine roaring, he aimed for Yi-Gichin's car. Ah, careful, careful. Chen Zuren saw the truck heading straight for them and turned pale with fear. Concrete posts, 10 meters ahead of Yi-Gichin stood a row of concrete posts. Yi-Gichin sneered and suddenly turned the steering wheel. The Mercedes swiftly passed between two trees on the side of the road, easily bypassing the posts. The truck earlier had all its attention on the Mercedes and didn't notice the row of roadblocks at all. Bang! The next second, the truck crashed heavily into the roadblocks. Due to the high speed, the front of the truck was completely deformed, and the driver hit the steering wheel, bleeding profusely. Fortunately, the airbags deployed and cushioned the impact, but they passed out from the collision. It was unclear how much time had passed, but slowly the two people in the truck could feel pain all over their bodies. Ooh, after a sharp pain, the bearded man was the first to wake up. He tried to move but found himself stripped naked and tightly bound, so much so that even breathing was difficult, let alone moving. Terrified, he began to struggle immediately. But the more he struggled, the tighter the ropes got, causing him to scream in pain repeatedly. Stop wasting your energy. Just then, a voice sounded in his ear. The bearded man turned his head, and his face changed drastically at once. Not far away, a young man was squatting, holding a sharp bamboo skewer, repeatedly stabbing it into the ground. Looking closely, the bearded man's pupils contracted sharply. He saw a pile of ant corpses, with each ant pierced by a bamboo skewer. At this moment, the bamboo skewer in the young man's hand came down again, skewering another ant. Hiss! The bearded man took a cold breath. The ants were tiny, like sesame seeds. Even with keen eyes and high accuracy, how could it be possible to pierce them all at once? Moreover, he noticed that one of the bamboo skewers had dozens of ant corpses skewered on it. You, who are you, and what do you want? The bearded man asked nervously. This young man was, of course, Yi-Gichin. He hated it when people tried dirty tricks on him. So after knocking the two out, Yi-Gichin stuffed the bearded man and the man with the baseball cap into the trunk of the Mercedes. To prevent Chen Zuren from seeing any inappropriate scenes, he first sent her home. Although Chen Zuren was extremely worried, she finally let Yi-Gichin leave alone after he repeatedly promised nothing would happen. With that, Yi-Gichin drove the bearded man and the man with a cap to a deserted grove in the suburbs, stripped them of their clothes, and tied them up. Still pretending, even now, Yi-Gichin played nonchalantly with the bamboo skewer in his hand. You planned to fake an accident to kill me and now pretend not to know me. Isn't that a bit much? The bearded man was shocked but gritted his teeth. I don't know what you are talking about. Well, it's natural not to confess everything now, Yi-Gichin said with a teasing smile. How about I have some fun with you? As he spoke, Yi-Gichin raised the bamboo skewer and thrust it towards the bearded man's left eye. The bearded man instinctively closed his eyes, terrified. I'll tell you, it was Chen Longxiang. The bamboo skewer stopped less than a millimeter from the bearded man's eye. I thought so, Yi-Gichin grinned. In that case, I'll give you two a task. The bearded man swallowed hard. Bro, we're not good people, but we have families, we're not killers. Fuck, Yi-Gichin cursed loudly, flicking his hand gently. After a hardly noticeable sound, the bearded man looked down and trembled in fear. He saw that the bamboo skewer, pierced with ant corpses, had been driven deep into the stone next to him. The ant corpses were all piled up, heaped on the stone. The bearded man was completely dumbfounded. The stone was hard granite, and driving a nail into it took a lot of force. Now a bamboo skewer had gone in easily. Bro, we were just doing a job for money, spare us. The bearded man's cries woke the man in the baseball cap. The man with the cap, surprised at first, instinctively tried to break free and soon realized things were wrong too. Bro, what's going on? Where are we? The bearded man ignored him and continued to cry. Bro, just tell us what to do. We'll do it, please don't kill us. If you were like that earlier, things would be much easier. Yi Gichen grinned. Actually, what I want you to do isn't difficult. I need you to keep an eye on Chen Longxiang for a few days. Record anything improper he does. You get it right. The bearded man, stunned, nodded quickly. Got it, we understand. Of course, if you fail, explain it to Chen Longxiang yourself. After saying that, Yi Gichen stood up and walked away. Bro, untie us. The bearded man and the man in the baseball cap were still tightly bound and panicked as Yi Gichen left. If you can't even deal with a rope, you might as well give up calling yourselves the Black and White Devils. Yi Gichen waved his hand and soon disappeared. Hearing Yi Gichen's words, the two of them exchanged glances filled with deep fear. How does he know our nicknames? The man with the cap asked in a trembling voice. The bearded man shook his head, in complete disbelief. Originally, Yi Gichen wanted to deal directly with Chen Longxiang, but then thought it would be too simple to take him out immediately. So he decided to play with him, ruining his reputation instead. Yi Gichen believed that for someone like Chen Longxiang, being driven out of the Chen group would be worse than being killed. But the bearded man and the man with the cap surprised Yi Gichen. After giving their photos to Blood Rose, she quickly uncovered their backgrounds. The two were private detectives, known as the Black and White Devils, specializing in catching cheating partners. Recently, they had been beaten up and hospitalized for a long time after filming a big shot, and were in deep debt. With no other way out, they decided to take a risk when Chen Longxiang approached them. They figured they would do the job, take the money, and run. Unexpectedly, Yi Gichen caught them. Bro, are we really going to spy on Chen Longxiang? The man in the cap asked after the bearded man finished explaining. The bearded man was about to speak when a crisp sound diverted his attention. Turning his head, he saw the granite block, which had the bamboo skewer stuck in it earlier, had cracks spreading across it and shattered into pieces within seconds. The two men swallowed hard. With Yi Gichen's skills, can we afford not to do it? The bearded man said gloomily, his face full of dismay. The man with the cap shivered, feeling utterly hopeless. There is a coffee shop. The name of this coffee shop is simply Home, which is quite unique. By the window, slowly sipping coffee, Chen Longxiang stared outside, with a face that fluctuated between expressions. Sitting opposite him were two men, one with a bushy beard and another with a baseball cap. These two had some skills. After being tied up by Yi Gichen, they had actually managed to escape, and now they were even in new clothes. The man with the baseball cap had fair skin. Although he appeared older, his face was incredibly delicate, which many women envied. Seeing Chen Longxiang remain silent, the man with the baseball cap chuckled and flattered, Mr. Chen, although the mission wasn't completed, my brother and I did a good job with the factory fire. Shouldn't you transfer the remaining money to us now? Chen Longxiang abruptly turned his head, glaring at the man with the baseball cap. After a moment, he said, How many times have I told you that had nothing to do with me? It was he Lao Liu who hired you. The man with the baseball cap forced a smile. We don't care who hired us, but the job was done, so the money still needs to be paid, right? The job wasn't completed, and you still want money. Chen Longxiang was seething with anger. He had thought that the factory fire would put Chen Zuren in a position of no return. Unexpectedly, not only did she recover, but she also regained control within just a couple of days, even to the extent that Elder Chen personally invited Chen Zuren back to the company. This left Chen Longxiang extremely displeased, utterly displeased. And so he hatched a vicious plan. As long as Chen Zuren and Yi Gichen were dead, no one in the Chen family would compete with him anymore. But these two men with the baseball cap messed it up. Chen Longxiang pushed an envelope toward the man with the baseball cap. Listen up, this is 20,000 yuan. The job wasn't completed, and I'm already being very generous. But if the factory fire or the car accident comes out, I'll make your lives a living hell. After saying this, he gulped down his coffee and turned to leave. The man with the baseball cap spat at Chen Longxiang's retreating figure. Damn, what's this? He promised 1 million for setting the fire, and after the job was done, he only gave us 500,000. Now he's trying to get out of paying and throws us 20,000 to shut us up. Is he treating us like beggars? The man with the bushy beard sneered. Well, if that's the case, don't blame us. This Chen Longxiang brought this on himself. After saying that, he too stood up. The two men quietly followed behind Chen Longxiang. Initially, they had reservations about following Chen Longxiang, but now they had none at all. In their view, revenge had to be thorough. Certainly, Chen Longxiang didn't expect the two men would follow him. After exiting the coffee shop, he quickly hailed a cab to a relatively remote motel. This motel couldn't even be rated and was just a common, small one. Once he got out of the cab, Chen Longxiang donned a mask and, seeing nobody was paying attention, snuck into the motel. This scene excited the two men tremendously. Bro, does this guy really have something going on? The man with the baseball cap, named Zheng Yu, originally a photographer, had used his job to take advantage of many naive girls in his younger days. But as the saying goes, often walking by the riverside, how can one's shoes stay dry? After many incidents, Zheng Yu inevitably got beaten up, and eventually his studio was trashed. At his wit's end, he ran into the man with the bushy beard. Next to him, the man with the bushy beard, named Hu Bing, was a former reconnaissance soldier. When they met, the two hit it off and started working as private detectives, even making a name for themselves as the black and white twin killers in this field. But only after a few years, they offended someone, and their detective agency was once again trashed. With no other option, the two had to resort to desperate measures. Hu Bing watched as Chen Longxiang entered the motel, took a drag from his cigarette, and said blandly, "I've always heard that Chen Longxiang is very discreet in his personal life. Over the years, there's been no scandal about him with any women. However, he is, after all, the scion of the Chen group. Isn't it normal for him to secretly meet a woman outside?" Zheng Yu blinked. "Bro, if it's just meeting a woman, that's normal. He's not married, but sneaking around like this isn't." Hu Bing nodded, throwing his cigarette butt on the ground. "Let's go, get ready and take a look. Oh, and bring your equipment." "Got it." Zheng Yu grabbed his camera and some surveillance devices. They slipped some money around, easily finding out the room number Chen Longxiang booked. Taking advantage of a moment when a staff member was delivering water, Zheng Yu discreetly planted a camera in the room. With that done, they returned to their car and opened their laptop. Upon seeing the footage, their eyes nearly bulged out of their sockets. "Damn," Zheng Yu couldn't help but curse. Even though Hu Bing was a former reconnaissance soldier and had seen a lot, he had never witnessed such a disgusting scene in all these years. So Chen Longxiang likes men. On the laptop screen, Chen Longxiang had already eagerly got into bed with another man. What's more, Chen Longxiang seemed to be the gentle one in the relationship. Shit, haha, this is breaking news, explosive even. Quickly capturing some face-revealing images, Zheng Yu sent them to Yi Gichen via WeChat. Yi Gichen had returned to the company, sitting in the boss's chair with his legs crossed. The security department planned to hold a welcome ceremony for Yi Gichen, which he declined. As Yi Gichen put it, "The money belongs to our Zuren, what's to be welcomed?" Moreover, with Chen Group he could come and go as he pleased. Who could stop him? In the past, if Yi Gichen had said this, nobody in the security department would have believed it. Now they were utterly convinced. Chen Zuren was busy as a bee when she suddenly heard Yi Gichen chuckling. She looked up. "What's so funny?" "Nothing," Yi Gichen replied with a smile. Chen Zuren snorted, lowered her head to get back to work but kept talking. "Yi Gichen, you're now the security department manager. You should act like one, and also..." Here Chen Zuren paused, seemingly to hide her shyness, but continued. "Regarding our marriage, my dad naturally has no say. My mom also didn't agree at first, but she hasn't clearly opposed it now. But since this matter was decided by my grandfather, we still need my grandma's approval. Her birthday is in a couple of days, and every member of the Chen family and many distinguished people from Yun City will attend. Don't embarrass me then." "Oh," Yi Gichen absent-mindedly agreed, his eyes still fixed on the photos in his hand. "Such eyesores. A birthday banquet." But upon hearing Chen Zuren mention Elder Chen's birthday banquet, Yi Gichen looked up, excited. "So, you're saying all the Chen family members will attend?" "Well, of course," Chen Zuren replied, lowering her head even further. Clearly, declaring her relationship with Yi Gichen in front of so many people made her feel very shy. Yi Gichen burst into laughter. "Great. HMPH, look at how smug you are." Chen Zuren misunderstood, thinking Yi Gichen was happy to be with her. Little did she know that Yi Gichen was preparing to bring Chen Longxiang to complete ruin. Meanwhile, in the hotel room, the battle was raging. About an hour later, Chen Longxiang finished dressing and turned his back to the other man. Brother Long, this can't go on. When can we be together openly? The other man had sharp eyebrows and a strong build, yet his appearance was incredibly handsome, exuding an irresistibly seductive aura. He looked several years older than Chen Longxiang and was smoking a cigar thoughtfully. After a long time, he exhaled deeply. Longxiang, you're moving too slowly. I thought you could easily control the Chen group within a year, but to this day, there's no progress at all. You've even let that bitch Chen Zuren take the upper hand. This isn't good. At these words, Chen Longxiang clenched his fists and said hatefully, You don't know. I don't know if it's because of that damn bumpkin who is Chen Zuren's new fiancé. Whatever I do, someone always interrupts. Fiancé, the man was taken aback. That guy named Yi Gichen. Yeah, damn it, I wanted to arrange an accident to kill them off, but those two failures botched it. Now I have no idea how to make Chen Zuren lose her standing with Grandma. The man took another puff of his cigar and smiled evilly. Hee, now there's an opportunity right in front of us. Really? Chen Longxiang was overjoyed and quickly asked, Brother Long, what opportunity? Star Group, the man said softly. Star Group, Chen Longxiang was puzzled. Isn't that one of the top enterprises in Hua country? I heard they planned to enter Yun City, but what does that have to do with me? I just got the news that Star Group, for some reason, is interested in cooperating with your Chen Group. Really? Chen Longxiang was thrilled. Brother Long, is this information reliable? What do you think? The man didn't answer. Instead, he asked back. Chen Longxiang hesitated briefly. All right, I understand. Haha, if I can secure the cooperation between Star Group and our Chen Group, I can certainly turn the tables and establish my authority before Grandma. Exactly, the man nodded approvingly. So, as a birthday gift at Grandma's birthday banquet, you can present this agreement. Good. Chen Longxiang said good 3 times, almost unable to contain his excitement. Brother Long, once I take over the Chen Group, both the Chen Group and I will be yours. As he spoke, Chen Longxiang batted his eyes seductively, almost making Zheng Yu and Hu Bing, who were watching the surveillance, sick to their stomachs. In the car, Zheng Yu took a deep breath. Brother, who is that man? Hu Bing furrowed his eyebrows and shook his head. From the way he speaks, he seems very powerful. In Yun City, I know all the important figures, yet I've never seen this man. Long Teng Group. Long Zhengkun was smoking one cigarette after another, his face extremely grim. Long Zixiang was packing back and forth in the office, visibly anxious. Dad, I already asked Sun Boyuan, and it's almost certain that Star Group genuinely wants to cooperate with the Chen Group. Long Zixiang had been busy recently, running around trying to meet with the heads of Star Group. But the results were the same each time. They were rejected. Long Zhengkun flicked the ash from his cigarette, his eyes clouded with worry. Zixiang, although I can't understand why the Chen family was chosen by Star Group, we can't rush this matter. Dad, how can we not be in a hurry? Long Zixiang said impatiently. If the Chen Group establishes a partnership with Star Group, it won't take a year for them to surpass us. What place will our Long family have then? Long Zhengkun raised his head and looked at Long Zixiang, his gaze flickering. Do you remember your brother? My brother? Long Zixiang was taken aback, clearly not understanding the meaning of Long Zhengkun's words. Everyone knows I'm your second son, but I've never seen my brother since childhood. Some say he was born to you and another woman and died early. Dad, why bring him up now? Long Zhengkun slowly shook his head. Your brother didn't die, and he's back in Yun City. What? Long Zixiang's lips twitched, and a hint of unease flashed in his eyes. Since childhood, Long Zixiang knew he had an elder brother, but had never seen him. Gradually, it didn't matter anymore. In his view, once Long Zhengkun died, he would be the only son, and Long Teng Group would naturally be his. But now, this brother he'd never met had returned. Was he back to fight for the inheritance? Clearly, Long Zhengkun saw the worry in Long Zixiang's eyes and said calmly, Zixiang, don't worry. Your brother won't come back to fight for the inheritance. Haha, he probably doesn't care about Long Teng Group's assets. Doesn't care? Long Zixiang was incredulous. Then why come back now? Long Zhengkun shook his head. I don't know exactly, but he sent me a message just now. As he spoke, Long Zhengkun pushed his phone toward Long Zixiang. Long Zixiang looked down and was stunned. My brother says whether Star Group collaborates with Chen Group or Long Teng Group, we'll end up benefiting. Haha, what does he mean by that? Long Zhengkun said expressionlessly, maybe your brother intends to help us swallow up the Chen group. Swallow up, Long Zixiang was shocked, sneering, how is that possible? Though the Chen family wasn't as powerful as the Long family, their foundation in Yun City was deep. Swallowing them up wouldn't be easy at all. Chen family. The atmosphere was joyous. Almost all the important figures of the Chen family were present. They surrounded Elder Chen, constantly offering compliments. Elderly lady, this is truly a double blessing. Your birthday is in a few days, and now Star Group wants to cooperate with us. It seems your good fortune knows no bounds, said a middle-aged man named Chen Guangzong, Chen Longxiang's father. Next to Chen Guangzong stood a middle-aged woman who also complimented. That's right, Elder Chen, this is all thanks to your good fortune. If we can partner with Star Group, our Chen family will surely rise to new heights. The woman was named Li Yuji, Chen Longxiang's mother. Longevity and great fortune. Someone couldn't help but shout. With a face full of smiles, Elder Chen nodded repeatedly as she listened to everyone's compliments. I gathered you all here today because of this matter. Although Chairman's son of the Yun City Chamber of Commerce already informed us, we must choose someone to be fully responsible for the negotiations with Star Group. Upon hearing this, everyone present fell silent. Everyone knew that if entrusted with Star Group's cooperation, they would have immense power and influence in the company. Grandma, I think Brother Longxiang is quite good, someone in the crowd spoke up. Everyone turned to the voice and saw a young woman in her 20s. Her name was Chen Siyu, the daughter of Chen Zeren's third uncle. Although her looks and figure were not as good as Chen Zeren's, she was not far behind. But when it came to business skills, Chen Siyu was far behind. Over the years, Chen Siyu had been competing with Chen Zeren, but she never expected Chen Zeren to have control of the Chen family's medical equipment now. If Chen Zeren continued to develop, she would probably have to act according to Chen Zeren's wishes in the future. For this reason, how could she possibly support Chen Zeren? Upon hearing Chen Siyu's words, someone immediately echoed, yes, young Master Longxiang is a business genius. If it weren't for him last time, how could we have passed the Renmin hospital crisis? I agree, even though some people are in charge of the medical equipment now, who knows what methods they used. Without young Master Longxiang, how could she have gotten this far so smoothly? Many people were already skeptical about those medical equipment suppliers suddenly turning to Chen Zeren. This kind of thing seemed unreasonable. Naturally, most people were even less willing to believe it was Chen Zeren's own merit. The only possibility was that Chen Longxiang had done the work, but Chen Zeren took the credit. Chen Longxiang was wearing a suit, looking refined and courteous. With a smile, he nodded gently to the surrounding people, presenting a modest appearance. We are all part of the Chen family. The factory fire last time didn't knock us down. Our Chen family is like a phoenix rising from its ashes. The next step will be reaching new heights. Well said, young Master Longxiang. Exactly, Elder, look how magnanimous young Master Longxiang is. He didn't take it to heart at all. Brother Longxiang, I support you. The elder also smiled and nodded, looking at Chen Longxiang with affection. Longxiang, you are a role model for the younger generation of our Chen family. If I really entrusted you with the negotiations with the Star Group, are you confident you can handle it? Grandma, if you really entrust me with it, I will certainly do my utmost, Chen Longxiang assured confidently. Shameless, a small voice came from the crowd. But the voice didn't seem to be trying to hide at all. Everyone's faces darkened and looked toward the source of the voice, which was Yi Gichen next to Chen Zeren. This time, Chen Zeren brought Yi Gichen to the Chen family meeting, just to tell the rest of the Chen family that Yi Gichen was her man, so everyone in the Chen family would be mentally prepared for the upcoming birthday banquet, and it wouldn't be too abrupt. Unexpectedly, Yi Gichen had spoken out inappropriately. Grandma, that's not what he meant, Chen Zeren quickly explained, sensing the looks from the rest of the Chen family. The elder's face also looked displeased. HMPH Zeren, don't think you can be arrogant just because you have done something for our Chen family. As long as I am alive, some people won't be allowed to talk nonsense here. Upon hearing this, everyone showed a look of schadenfreude. Chen Siyu in particular was beaming with pride. Oh Zeren, you should better control that bumpkin. Does he even have the right to speak here? Chen Zuren's face flushed. Yi Gichin, however, looked up with a smile, looking at Chen Siyu. "Oh, miss, I said shameless, but didn't name anyone. If you claim it, could it be you are the shameless one?" "You're the shameless one." Chen Siyu couldn't believe that Yi Gichin dared to insult her. Chen Longxiang sneered and comforted. "Siyu, why bother with a low-class bumpkin?" "HMPH, Chen Zuren, I really don't get you, bringing a bumpkin to a family meeting. Aren't you afraid of losing face?" Chen Siyu sneered. Upon hearing this, Chen Zuren became unhappy. "Who I bring has nothing to do with you." "Oh, so you want to protect your man now?" "So what if I protect him? He is my man. If I don't protect him, should I protect you?" Chen Zuren retorted, sticking her neck out like a mother hen defending her chick. Everyone was stunned. They initially thought Chen Zuren brought Yi Gichin just to let people ridicule him, but now she actually stood up to defend him. She looked ready to fight anyone who dared to bully him. Yi Gichin, however, acted like a freeloading gigolo, staying silent. "Bumpkin, don't think you can be arrogant just because someone supports you. Remember, whether you can enter our Chen family still depends on Grandma," Chen Siyu said, her face red with anger and annoyance. Yi Gichin chuckled. "Oh, then you needn't worry, Miss Shameless." "You," Chen Siyu stomped her feet in anger and whined to the elder. "Grandma, look at this bumpkin. If he really becomes part of our Chen family, wouldn't we become a laughingstock?" The elder didn't expect Yi Gichin to be so arrogant, and her face showed growing displeasure. "All right, I will decide this matter. First, secure the cooperation with the Star Group." "Mom, don't worry. With Longxiang handling it, isn't it a piece of cake?" Chen Longxiang's mother, Li Yuji, said proudly. If Chen Longxiang succeeded in securing the deal, she would rise with him. Then dealing with Chen Zuren and her family would be just a matter of words. Chen Zuren bit her lip. Although she was a bit unwilling, she had no choice. Since the Star Group had already decided to cooperate with the Chen family, whoever the elder assigned the task to would naturally take the credit. Such a windfall, of course, Chen Zuren would be tempted. But seeing the elder and others' attitude, Chen Zuren could only sigh heavily. At that moment, Yi Gichin held Chen Zuren's hand. "Don't worry, apart from you, no one can negotiate the cooperation with the Star Group." "Huh?" Chen Zuren looked at Yi Gichin in surprise. This wasn't the first time Yi Gichin had made an incredible statement, yet each time it had come true. But this time it seemed too absurd. The Star Group was like stars in the sky. How could it be easily influenced by others? Oh, Chen Zuren didn't believe it at all but forced a smile. "Well, thank you for the comfort." Her expression, however, clearly showed disbelief. That afternoon, Chen Longxiang, with expensive gifts in hand, personally went to the Star Group's office in Yun City. However, before he even entered the door, he was shown out. What does the Star Group mean?" Chen Longxiang came back, disheartened. The elder angrily stood up and immediately called Sun Boyuan. "Chairman Sun, didn't you say the Star Group was interested in cooperating with our Chen family? Why did they chase Longxiang out?" On the other end of the call, Sun Boyuan lifted his head with a bitter smile, looking at the flamboyantly dressed woman in front of him. Seeing the woman remain silent, he had to say, "Elder, Miss Mei Gui of the Star Group said that she wants Chen Zuren to come and talk in person." "What?" The elder almost dropped her phone. "Is it that girl again?" After a while, the elder tentatively asked, "Chairman Sun, what's going on? Why must Zuren go?" "That I'm not sure either." Sun Boyuan hung up the phone and looked at the woman in front of him with a fawning smile, probing. "Miss Mei Gui, Chen Zuren is just an ordinary junior of the Chen family. It's really their great fortune to have your favor." Miss Mei Gui was, in fact, none other than the Blood Rose. Chapter 94, Birthday Banquets 3. Miss Mei Gui had a proud and aloof expression at this moment. She glanced coldly at Sun Boyuan and walked to the large floor-to-ceiling window, murmuring, "She must be very fortunate to have Big Boss treat her like this." Big Boss, Sun Boyuan sensed there was more to Mei Gui's words and immediately wanted to ask questions. But Mei Gui suddenly turned around, her eyes exuding an intimidating authority. Sun Boyuan instinctively lowered his head. "Miss Mei Gui, whatever you instruct, I will dedicate myself to serving you as the president of the Yun City Chamber of Commerce." Mei Gui's mouth curved slightly. "I won't repeat what Big Boss said. Next time, if the Chen family plays smart again, don't blame me for being unkind." Sun Boyuan, hearing this, was stunned for a while and quickly nodded. "Understood, Miss Mei Gui. I will personally convey your message to old Mrs. Chen to ensure she won't disrespect you again. Sun Boyuan backed out tremblingly, a hint of fear in his eyes, murmuring, Miss Mei Gui has a big boss behind her. Who could such a person be? His eyes were filled with endless fascination. Such a person, when would I get the chance to see their imposing presence? Grandma, what exactly is going on? Upon hearing Sun Boyuan say that the Star Group specifically named Chen Zuran to discuss cooperation, even Chen Longxiang, despite his steadfastness, couldn't hold his composure anymore. His veins bulged on his neck, on the verge of madness. If Chen Zuran really collaborated with the Star Group, then what place would Chen Longxiang have in the Chen family? Not just Chen Longxiang, even the other members of the Chen family were incredulous upon hearing this. Grandma, this matter is too strange. The fact that previous medical equipment companies let it go is one thing, but then even President Yan of Divine Wind Pharmaceutical also specifically asked for Chen Zuran to negotiate. Now, the Star Group wants Chen Zuran too. Could it be that Chen Zuran has hooked up with some rich young master? Chen Xiu's eyes were filled with intense jealousy. Right, Xiu's sister is correct. It's definitely like that. Upon hearing this, Chen Longxiang immediately nodded in agreement, as if he had thought of something and slapped his forehead. Grandma, if Chen Zuran has indeed hooked up with a rich young master, this matter would make perfect sense. Old Mrs. Chen remained silent. Chen Longxiang continued, Grandma, think about it. With Chen Zuran's looks and our Chen family's status, how could she be interested in a country bumpkin like Yi Gichen? Maybe she simply doesn't want others to know she's hooked up with a rich young master, or maybe the rich young master is just fooling around with her. As soon as he said this, many people present nodded repeatedly. Chen Xiu hastily added, Yes. Grandma, Brother Longxiang is right. Chen Zuran must be using Yi Gichen as a cover. Maybe she's really being a mistress for someone else. Old Mrs. Chen's eyes flickered, deep in thought. In recent times, it seemed that a hidden force had been secretly assisting Chen Zuran, but no matter how she thought about it, she couldn't think of any possibilities. However, what Chen Longxiang said was the most plausible. Chen Longxiang continued to sow discord. Grandma, since they can influence the Star Group's decisions, they certainly hold substantial power. But Chen Zuran is keeping this matter tightly under wraps. It's suspicious. Old Mrs. Chen narrowed her eyes and looked at Chen Longxiang. Continue. Chen Longxiang maliciously said, I fear that Chen Zuran wants to take control of the Chen Group, and then present it as a dowry to that rich young master. Well, this statement immediately caused an uproar. If Chen Zuran truly did that, it would be equivalent to selling the entire Chen family and giving away the legacy that old Sir of Chen family established. Her heart was capable of killing. At this moment, a notification sounded outside, announcing that Sun Boyuan, president of the Yun City Chamber of Commerce, had arrived. Old Mrs. Chen promptly stood up to personally greet him. President Sun, why have you come personally? Sun Boyuan bowed respectfully to old Mrs. Chen. You are too kind, old Mrs. Chen. I've come to convey Miss Mei Gui's message. To cooperate with the Star Group, only Miss Chen Zuran must be the representative. Upon hearing this, everyone looked at each other in astonishment. As mentioned over the phone, now Sun Boyuan personally reiterated it, which underscored the Star Group's determination. Everyone increasingly believed in the truth of what Chen Longxiang had said. Sun Boyuan naturally sensed the strangeness among the Chen family. Old Mrs. Chen awkwardly smiled. Thank you for your trouble, President Sun. Sun Boyuan asked curiously, Is there something bothering you, old Mrs. Chen? Old Mrs. Chen smiled. You honor us with your presence, President Sun. Since Miss Mei Gui of Star Group insists, we will certainly comply and discuss it properly within our family. All right, Sun Boyuan didn't say much and reminded before leaving, I hope you treasure this opportunity, old Mrs. Chen. Regarding the matter of Miss Mei Gui having a big boss behind her, Sun Boyuan naturally kept silent, but his reminder was clear. If old Mrs. Chen failed to understand again, it was no longer his concern. After Sun Boyuan left, old Mrs. Chen couldn't hold back anymore. Collaboration with the Star Group can wait a day or two. On my birthday, I will personally ask Chen Zuran. Although cooperating with the Star Group was a tremendous deal, if it truly was as Chen Longxiang said that the Chen family would be sold out, it would be a loss rather than a gain. So old Mrs. Chen didn't dare take any risks. For a moment, everyone present fell silent. After a brief silence, everyone began shouting. Grandma is wise. Our Chen family must not be harmed by traitors, falling into others' hands. No one expected that Chen Zuren, who looks fragile, had such deep scheming. Truly people know faces but not hearts. For a moment, the crowd was indignant, as if Chen Zuren was indeed the one who would personally bury the Chen group. Chen Longxiang, seeing his incitement succeed, was secretly pleased and clenched his fist. Wait for it. On your birthday, I will definitely make a splash and snatch back everything you took from Chen Zuren. A storm is brewing. Star Group's Yun City office. Yi Gichen sat with his eyes closed. In front of him, Miss Mei Gui stood respectfully. Big boss. It's unexpected that the Chen family hasn't sent anyone these past 2 days. Could they be willing to give up the huge opportunity to cooperate with the Star Group? Miss Mei Gui hesitated. Logically, no matter the cost, as long as they could connect with the Star Group, the Chen family would soar. Yi Gichen slowly opened his eyes, a smile appearing on his lips, just being smart. Then what should we do? Miss Mei Gui furrowed her brows. Yi Gichen casually replied, since they want to play smart, we will accompany them in a grand play tomorrow. It's a perfect moment to elevate Chen Zuren. Miss Mei Gui looked up at Yi Gichen, seemingly understanding something. Her eyes brightened as she quickly nodded, understood. Until the day of the banquet, the involved party, Chen Zuren, remained completely clueless. For some reason lately, she felt that certain people's gazes towards her were slightly different. Congratulations on old Mrs. Chen's eternal longevity. Boss Song presents a jade pot worth 3 million as a gift. Boss Shen of Shen Technology congratulates old Mrs. Chen on her 90th birthday, presenting premium Longjing tea worth 800,000. At the Chen family, congratulations rang out one after another. After learning that the Chen family was about to collaborate with the Star Group, most of Yun City's elite families wanted a piece of the pie and came to extend their greetings. Chen Longxiang, as the eldest grandson of the Chen family, naturally stood at the door, welcoming guests with a smile. Chapter 95 Birthday Banquet 4. Longteng Group, second young master Long Zixiang has arrived. At this moment, a voice rang out. Everyone immediately turned their gaze towards the entrance. Longteng Group is here. Yes, even though Long Zhenkun didn't come personally, the fact that second young master Long is here shows that Yun City's top Longteng Group is interested in partnering with the Chen family. Oh, the Chen family really is different now. Some felt emotional, some envied, but more showed jealousy. A small Chen family that used to be on equal footing with them, how could it now gain the favor of Star Group? But that's the way it is, and they couldn't do anything about it. Chen Longxiang didn't expect Long Zixiang to come, and quickly went forward to greet him. Second young master Long's presence truly brings glory to us. Haha, no need to be so courteous. It's my honor to attend the old lady's birthday banquet. Long Zixiang cupped his hands in salute, his demeanor like a gentle breeze, but he intentionally and unintentionally glanced towards Yi Gichen, a fierce look flashing deep in his eyes. Purple Gold Group Miss Mew has arrived, another announcement rang out. As the sound settled, the crowd erupted. Purple Gold Group, did I hear that right? Purple Gold Group is the leading aristocrat of Qingzhou province. Even though the Long family is top-ranked in Yun City, they're still a junior compared to Purple Gold Group. The crowd started bustling. The arrival of Purple Gold Group elevated the birthday banquet to its climax. Even the old lady was so excited that she quickly stood up. It's an honor for Lady Mew to attend in person. Miss Mew of Purple Gold Group, whose real name is Mew Qingshuang, is as beautiful as frost, a renowned talent in the business world and a remarkable woman. It's said that Purple Gold Group has now become one of the top 50 largest enterprises in Hua country, with assets exceeding 10 billion, all due to Mew Qingshuang's efforts. She is young, beautiful, and exceptionally talented, but has a cold personality, especially towards men, once proclaimed never to marry. Moreover, any man who expressed even the slightest romantic interest in her would meet her hostility, with just a beating being considered mild. Gradually, many speculated that Mew Qingshuang might have been abandoned by a man previously. But it was just speculation, as no one dared to really ask her about it. In response to the old lady's excitement, Mu Qingshuang merely nodded slightly, her expression indifferent. "You're too kind, old lady." She gestured casually. Immediately, someone behind her presented a rectangular box. The old lady quickly stepped forward to accept it personally. "It's already a great honor for Lady Mu to attend. How could I let you spend money?" Mu Qingshuang said nothing, her eyes drifting, as if searching for someone. Long Zixiang hesitated briefly, then stepped forward quickly, extending his hand and smiling at Mu Qingshuang. "Lady Mu, I'm Long Zixiang from Longteng Group. It's a great honor to meet you today." Before he could finish, Mu Qingshuang's eyes brightened as she seemed not to hear him, swiftly walking towards a corner with a gleeful look in her eyes, leaving Long Zixiang embarrassed and with an even darker expression. Sitting in the corner were Chen Zuren's family. Soon, Mu Qingshuang reached Yi Gichen, but her gaze fell on Chen Zuren, revealing a barely perceptible hostility. "Is this Miss Chen Zuren?" Mu Qingshuang asked indifferently, but it inexplicably put pressure on Chen Zuren. Before Chen Zuren could speak, her mother LV Ping stood up, rubbed her hands on her clothes, and extended her hand to shake Mu Qingshuang's. "Lady Mu, do you know our Zuren?" However, Mu Qingshuang didn't even glance at LV Ping, leaving her awkwardly sitting back down. Many people perked up their ears. If it turned out that Chen Zuren knew Mu Qingshuang, many illogical things would suddenly make sense. Chen Longxiang's heart tightened, thinking, "This is bad. How could this be? Could it be that the person behind Chen Zuren wasn't a man but Mu Qingshuang? If that were true, then how could Chen Zuren's reputation be ruined today?" But Mu Qingshuang simply shook her head. "I don't know her. Meeting her today, she's just so-so." Her tone suggested enmity. After speaking, Mu Qingshuang gave Yi Gichen a wistful glance, then turned and sat down. Chen Longxiang was overjoyed. How wonderful! Though he didn't know what Chen Zuren had done to offend Mu Qingshuang, confronting Chen Zuren today would indirectly please Mu Qingshuang. No one noticed that as Mu Qingshuang turned away, Yi Gichen awkwardly touched his nose and sighed. Chen Zuren glared strangely at Yi Gichen, whispering, "Do you know her?" "Heh heh," Yi Gichen gave a perfunctory laugh, feeling both amused and troubled inside. He didn't understand how Mu Qingshuang knew he was in Yun's city, and even came specifically. "Oh, fate. Chen Zuren, we've all given gifts to grandmother. Where's yours? Why haven't you brought it out?" Suddenly, a sharp voice rang out. It was Chen Xiu. She could hardly wait to target Chen Zuren. Chen Zuren, busy these days, hadn't had time to prepare a gift, and quickly looked towards Yi Gichen. She had entrusted Yi Gichen with preparing the gift. Yi Gichen shrugged, took a gift box from beside his foot, and handed it to Chen Zuren. "What's this?" "A gift for the old lady." Yi Gichen smiled cunningly, not explaining further. "This gift is a surprise. Inside, it contains something that could ruin Chen Longxiang." Chen Xiu scoffed at the casually wrapped gift box, sneering, "What's the holdup? Our Longxiang brother gave 100 longevity painting. I wonder if Sister Zuren's gift is better than Brother Longxiang's." As she spoke, she raised her brows at Chen Longxiang. "Right, Longxiang brother." Chen Longxiang proudly waved his hand, as someone immediately unfurled a scroll. "Grandmother, this 100 longevity painting was found with great effort by your grandson. Though it's priceless, it's a token of my heart. I wish grandmother eternal life and longevity." Chen Longxiang knelt before the old lady, bowing respectfully. The guests were instantly captivated by the scroll. "Is this the 100 longevity painting?" "Oh my," it said that this 100 longevity painting dates back to the Southern Song dynasty, drawn by the calligraphy master Liang Zicheng, worth a fortune. "Look, each longevity character has a different style. The symbolism is wonderful." The crowd discussed animatedly. The old lady was beaming. "Tut, flaunting a fake painting, what for?" Unexpectedly, amidst everyone's praise, Yi Gichen snorted disdainfully. Immediately, everyone's attention was drawn to him.